Hello, villains. Today we're going to be discussing the villainy of President Coriolanus Snow from the Hunger Games franchise. Every villain is just the hero of their own story. That doesn't really apply here. Not even close. President Coriolanus Snow is not a hero. He is not misunderstood. He is not secretly soft. He is not going to get a redemption arc. He is evil. That's it. He is the calm, cool, calculated flavor of evil. So, let's break him down. The poor kid with too much ambition and daddy issues. The capital snake in a well-tailored suit. And the man who somehow turned teenage murder into primetime television. You want to say hi? He says hi. Time for a villain origin story! In the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, we meet Coriolanus Snow. He's broke, hungry, and just faking it till he makes it. He, his grandmam, and his cousin Tigress live in a collapsing penthouse, but you'd never know that from the way that he struts around and acts like he's better than everybody else, but that's to be expected from him. In the ballad book, his classmate asks him what he had for breakfast, and his reply, steak. We had so much we had to throw half of it out. He, in fact, did not have steak. All of his clothes are altered by his seamstress cousin, Tigress. She even uses the bathroom tiles as ornate makeshift buttons for his shirt. This is all so he can live up to the lie that he's posing at his preppy academy school. Later in the novel, he falls for Lucy Gray Baird, a beautiful songbird from District 12. And for a hot second you think, maybe this is it. Maybe love will be the thing to redeem him. No. Snow doesn't fall in love. He does leverage. Collins even writes him to say, what was more important than survival? Than having the upper hand. And that's it. That's his whole life philosophy. Love, trust, loyalty, they're weaknesses. He will trade all of it for survival. And he does. He agrees. He sees Lucy Gray as somebody who genuinely wants to help him and care about him. And for somebody who's rarely ever done that in his own life, he becomes enraptured by it. He calculates everything from a very young age so that he never has to struggle ever again. And he thinks that he has everything planned out for he and Lucy Gray's escape from District 12. But the one thing that he didn't anticipate was that Lucy Gray was going to be ballsier than he was and stand up for herself and for what she believes in. He's caught in a lie, of course, and with one lie from his lips, Lucy Gray is gone forever. Her fate remains a mystery to him and to all of us as readers. He never learns what comes of her. But we know what comes from him. He sets out to destroy everyone from the districts because to him, none of them can be trusted. And he wants to make sure that nobody is ever in a position to manipulate him ever again. That is until Katniss Everdeen. And this is where the switch is. Snow's not tragic. He's not misunderstood. He is someone who will always choose power over humanity. Fast forward to adult Snow. This man is a menace in a three-piece suit. Soft-spoken, polite, always with an eerie calmness. Katniss even notes, his voice is so soft, so charming, that you can barely catch the edge of menace beneath it. Like, sir, why are you threatening me like it's a love song or a bedtime story? Snack break. He's always wearing roses to mask the smell of the sores in his mouth. Why does he have those sores, I wonder? Because he spent decades poisoning himself and other people. Tell me that's not the most poetic form of rotting. Literally dying from the inside out because of your own methods of destruction. Let's go, Suzanne Collins. He's not Voldemort screaming spells, the boy who lived. He's the villain sipping tea, smiling, and plotting your death. The narrative from the books shows how corrupting power completely changes a person. He has physical decay from using the poison. He has a constant paranoia that everyone is coming after him. He also has the need to isolate himself from everyone, but that kind of goes hand in hand with paranoia. And he has a severe loss of love and human connection, and that stems from Lucy Gray defying him. Power grants him everything externally, but internally he pays a deep price. That's his inevitable undoing. We can't do a Coriolanus analysis without mentioning his biggest achievement, the Hunger Games. The games aren't just physical punishment for the districts and their uprising. It's psychological warfare dressed up as entertainment for the capital. And Snow knows this, and he uses it to his advantage. He says, "Hope. It is the only thing stronger than fear. A little hope is effective. A lot of hope is dangerous." That's terrifying, but he's not wrong. The games aren't just about killing, they're about control. Keep the districts divided, humiliate them publicly, and distract everyone with the spectacle of it. He doesn't kill the adults. He kills the children. And even then, he doesn't have the kids just lined up and killed by firing squad. He has them kill each other. The kids are representative of the future of the nation and any semblance of hope and innocence in the districts. Snow turned trauma into reality television. He'd fit right in at Netflix, honestly. Beyond just the appearance of the games, Snow is obsessed with what people see and what they think that they see. The capital newspapers, the propaganda, the Victor's Arena, the Victor's Tours, the Victor's Village, everything is entirely orchestrated to make it seem like Snow is actually a benevolent president rather than a malicious dictator. It's necessary for his narrative. Snow doesn't rely on violence to keep himself in power. He even has his entire military personnel called the Peacekeepers. It's another way of how he's trying to tell everybody that he's good when he's actually bad. He's a master of his words. His meetings with Katniss throughout the series are proof of that. Here's the trick. He reframes the rebellion as recklessness. He implies that she's the one responsible for all of the violence. He smiles while doing it. Snow never has to scream, "I'll kill your family!" He just lets Katniss imagine it. His rhetoric works like poison. It's subtle, invisible, and by the time you realize what's happening, it's already in your system. Snow is really unique as a villain. He doesn't have the same villainy as other characters. There's some villains who believe in their ideology over control, but Snow is the latter. Snow is different because he's not chaotic. He's not seeking change in the usual sense. He's trying to preserve what he has. And he doesn't have this villain monologue moment where he begins to doubt his reasoning or his plans. He is consistent in his belief that peace requires domination. His villainy is also really different because he doesn't rely on physical overpowerment. His strength lies in reading people and using their vulnerabilities against them. With Peeta, he uses his love and guilt over him. With Katniss, he pokes and prods at her empathy and her instincts. And with his subordinates, he rewards loyalty and punishes disloyalty in forms of psychological trauma as well as physical trauma. He uses fear and hope in tandem since they're so similar. We know that he uses fear. That's a constant, normal villain tactic. But he uses hope just as much. He has just enough hope in people to keep them compliant. It makes them easier to manipulate. For example, he lets the districts believe that victory in the games is going to change their lives. It's going to change their lives for their family and their friends, and it's going to be a way of setting themselves up for success for the rest of their life, even though they have a 1 in 24 chance of winning. This makes them more dangerous because when the hope starts to fail them, they feel more betrayed and, if anything, stupid for believing in themselves, rather than if they were just oppressed normally, then they would have had an enemy to work against. But Snow, obviously, found a way around that. And now onto the literal way that he's written, which is just so exciting. I love the structure of novels. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is written in third person limited. This is unlike the original Hunger Games trilogy and even the second prequel that just recently came out, Sunrise on the Reaping, where they use first person, and that's deliberate. This is because first person makes you empathize, even with the monsters. And Suzanne Collins didn't want that. Snow is not a character that we should be empathizing with. She wanted the distance between Snow and us as readers. She did not want anyone to say, oh, but I understand him. I get it. No, 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 no. We see Snow's actions. We do not excuse them. She doesn't invite us into his inner life because there's nothing to understand. He's not Kylo Ren with daddy issues. He's not the Joker with society made me do it. He's just a villain. End of story. And I get that he's hot. Okay? I get it. They had to sell the tickets to the movie somehow. I can't really blame them. Snow often says that his actions are necessary or for the greater good. He wants the capital and the citizens to believe that there are no other alternatives. He frames the rebellion as this barbaric thing that is versus the capital's civilization. Snow's real problem ends up being that he doesn't know how to fight an idea. He's brilliant at controlling the ideas and controlling systems, but Katniss breaks out of that system kind of by accident. She's just trying to survive volunteering in her sister's place at the Reaping. When he tells her, it is the things we love the most that destroy us, he's not threatening her. He's revealing his entire worldview. To him, love is a weakness. He almost gave up everything because he fell in love with a girl. But for Katniss, love is strength. It is the one thing that makes her fight, even when she doesn't want to. She continues to fight for the people that she loves. That's why she beats him. She has something to fight for. He only has something to fight against. That Mockingjay mocked every sense of safety that he thought that he had. So what does Snow actually represent once his regime falls? The impact of his fall isn't just personal. It shows how society can reform and how it can let the past go and go towards a future that has more prosperity in it. So, President Snow, part snake, part reality TV connoisseur, part grandfather that reeks of Febreze and blood. He's not the villain that you root for. He is the villain that you study. Collins makes sure that we never feel that sorry for him. He kills people. He kills children. He is constantly trying to exercise power, and so that he never feels insecure ever again. He's one of the best written characters of our time. And I would go as far to say that he's a modern day Iago. He has such a level of complexity and he's written with intricacies and carefulness that are so impactful that he is one of the only modern day villains that I can actually compare to something as skillful as a Shakespeare character like Iago, like one of the best written characters ever. So villains, that is going to be it for me. I hope you learned something about Mr. Coriolanus Snow. I was told that I did that like a YouTuber, and now I'm insecure.
Sorry.
Oh, wow.